Awesome. It looks like we are live here on Crowdcast, and my name is Seth Burney with Marketing 360. Super excited to be here today. I am presenting here with my fellow colleague, the number one man in the office, our CEO, JB Kellogg.
How's it going, guys? Good to be here.
Awesome. So we're going to be going through a couple housekeeping things right now. We are also, so you guys know, presenting this live on Facebook. We're also going to be pushing it to YouTube. So just checking a couple technical things real quick before we fully get into this. But we're super excited to be here. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to grow your business on social media. So super excited here, JB. I don't know if you have a quick intro you want to talk about. I'm going to do some technical stuff right here while we get this thing going.
Perfect. Hey, no, glad to be here, guys. I think we have a lot of great content today. Whether you're new to social media or you've been doing it for a while, I think we have at least some real nice tidbits for you here along the way. There is a lot of content, so we'll move as quick as we can here so your guys aren't on too long, but there's a lot of meat on the bone here. The deck that we're going to be going through, we'll share that as well afterwards in the comments and whatnot. So that's available to you. So you can always reference back to that, whether you're going through it yourself or with your team. You'll have full access to it. But we're excited. We're going to take you kind of through the whole journey here, maybe why social media is important, and then we're going to jump into more of the technical stuff and how you can execute on that front to really build your social media presence for your brand and your business online and get it to the next level. So definitely excited to jump in here as Seth kind of gets things tweaked and ready to go. Like he said, this will be going live out on Facebook and YouTube and whatnot here as well at the same time. So you'll be able to even watch this on the replay and reference back to it too. So it should be perfect.
And it looks great from my end. So I have Facebook up, have YouTube up. We have 15 viewers on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. We have 23 here on Crowdcast. So very excited. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you like. If you're on the Crowdcast, right there at the bottom, it says ask a question. Please feel free to go ahead and put all your questions in there. We want to get to those, as well as if you're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, please do put questions in the comment sections and we'll get to them. So let's dive right into this first slide here, JB, if you don't mind. And let's see what the 5 reasons you need a strong social media presence for.
Perfect. Hey guys, and if there's any technical issues or anything along the way, throw a chat in there or something or a comment so we're aware of it. Make sure everything's running smooth for you. But let's jump into it here. 5 reasons why social media is important. I think, a lot of these things are obvious to a lot of people, but it's really impactful when you stop and think about it. So let's go through these 5 different basically tips on why social media is important and break this down. So the first bullet point we have there on the slide, Seth, if you want to pull the slide up, is it's the new TV. And it really is. And, you hear, if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk or any of these guys online, they've said that before too. And it really is, when you think about people, they used to go home after work, sit down on the couch, and they'd flip through ESPN and CBS and their favorite TV shows and whatnot. And now, even if they're doing that, they're spending most of their attention on social media. They're going through their Facebook feed and their Instagram feed, looking at their Snapchat and watching YouTube videos, Chromecasting Facebook and YouTube videos to their TV. And so this is where their attention is. Not just in the evenings, obviously, but literally all day. So you want to be where your customers are, right? That's the first thing. And today, more than ever, your customers are on social media. That's where they're at. And then the second bullet point there, and this is interesting, but more and more people are searching in the native app first before they go to Google. And so we're seeing that here too. We work with a lot of small businesses that do everything you can think of. And what we're seeing is, the inbound search volume on Google and whatnot is shifting a little bit to the social media, because if you think about it, the younger demographic, especially my daughter's 17, and literally she'll be on Instagram, and before she does anything, she searches in Instagram. She'll actually search hashtags, search for people right there in Instagram. So it's crazy, but if you think about it, the younger demographic, even if they need something like a plumber, is going to be on Instagram, and they're going to check, and see if that plumber has a presence on social media first. So they'll search Fort Collins plumber. Fort Collins is the city they live in, and they'll see who's there. And so if you're not there, you're probably missing out on a lot of business, because they're not taking that next step and searching on Google. And we're seeing this more and more. People are staying within the native app. And so these are two things to think about. People are spending all their time there and they're starting to search there. So you really need to have a presence there, or to them, you don't exist.
Perfect. Absolutely agree with that 100%. So when we're looking at different types of social media, and a lot of people are saying, why is it really important to me? One topic is the social proof element, right? So social proof is part of the buying process. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really important these days, especially, like I said, with the younger demographic. What people are going to do before they call you or they fill out a lead form on your site is they're going to see if you have a presence on social media. First off, do you have an account? Is it professionally branded? Does it look good from a design perspective, really? Next thing they're going to do is see, do you have any followers? If you don't have any followers, they're going to assume that you either don't have a lot of customers yet, which could be a red flag, or you're not up with the times, which means that you are maybe behind times on your product or service as well. Not a thought process you want them to have. They're also going to look and see if you're posting good content, if you're posting frequently. A red flag there would be is if you have a piece of content on there, but it was posted months ago. You're not very active. And so this would be something that people would be concerned about. They might not want to call you or fill out that lead form because of it. Then the last piece there is, are your customers positively engaging on your accounts? Are they liking and commenting in a positive way with your content? Does it show that you're active with the community? This is called social proof. This is proof that to them that they should actually call you or fill out a lead form. And so this is something people are doing. In addition to that, they're also checking your reviews online and your reputation. And this is all part of that proofing process before they reach out to you. So you might be getting a lot of people looking at your website or looking at your advertising in various places, and they're just not calling you or filling out those lead forms because you're failing in that proof process. And so having a social presence is really going to help you there.
Perfect. I think that an interesting topic, especially me being a millennial here, the social proof is 100% necessary. If I go to a site, I don't see that they look professional, more than likely I'm going to leave. But that being said too, a lot of people say, well, I get a lot of my business from referrals, right? So why would a social presence have anything to do with giving referrals to their friends and family?
Yeah, so great point. And really, and I've been saying this for a while, but the referral process has come full circle now. In the old days before the internet and before there was easy ways of finding businesses, people would ask for referrals. They'd ask their neighbor, hey, where do you cut your hair? Where do you go out to eat? Where did you vacation last? That was just a standard process, right? That's what we did. But then Google came along and the search just became so easy and so fast. It was actually quicker and more convenient just to search on Google to answer those questions. Mm-hmm. But now it's come full circle where we're back to where we're asking our friends again, because now it's so easy on social media. You can comment, you can share, you can really direct message all of your friends and your followers on social media, and you can just ask them, hey, what do you guys recommend for a haircut? What do you recommend to go out to eat? That kind of a thing. And you get not just one response on a one-to-one, you could get maybe a community of responses. So now, because they're in that app all the time, like we talked about earlier, and they're already in that native environment, they're going to ask there before they search on Google. So again, this comes back to you need a social presence to be a part of that referral process. So if you've seen your referrals fall down over the years, if you pick up your speed on social media, you'll probably see that ramp back up to where it was and beyond in terms of referrals.
Mm-hmm. And then also a crazy trend, a lot of people are referring businesses without actually being a customer of that business.
Right. And that's just because social media builds trust. If you're posting good content, you're communicating and you're engaging. Maybe somebody asked me, hey, where'd you go on vacation? Maybe I haven't gone on vacation recently, but hey, I follow this particular hotel or something that posts great content. Looks like a really great place to go. I'd love to go there. I'm going to recommend them. Even though I wasn't necessarily a customer, it's not just, in the travel industry, it's literally for every type of business you can think of. If they're constantly seeing that branding, that content, they're going to recommend somebody. Back to the plumber example earlier, if I search and see plumbers on Instagram, it looks hip, it's good information, it's interesting. Somebody needs a plumber. Maybe I never use them, but I'm saying, hey, you should try those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a topic you've said a couple times now is trust. You brought up brand, you brought up trust a couple times, and social, it sounds like, is the place that you have the best ability to build that brand, to build that trust with people who don't actually know who you are. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and with brand awareness and trust, it's definitely momentum based with social media. The longer you're consistent with your content and your engagement, and as long as your content's adding great value to the follower, they're going to steadily over time trust you, see you as a thought leader in your space. And maybe they're not ready to buy or take action today, but when they are down the road, you've rented space in their mind, you've earned their trust, you're going to be the first person they go to. And so it's the snowball effect, right? Because now you have maybe 1,000 followers a month that you're acquiring. After 12 months, that's 12,000 people that are in your ecosystem that trust your brand. After 2 years, you're 25,000 or more. And what is that going to do? It's just going to result in more sales. So if you can increase your brand awareness, if you can increase your trust, it's going to equal increased sales. And you do that through posting and engaging on social media with value add content.
Perfect. Absolutely. Makes 100% sense. One interesting thing that I've heard from a lot of business owners, they say, you know what, I don't have enough time. There's lots of other things that I'm doing. I get business from other means. Can you, I guess, give them a quick, why is it so important that they do this today, that they're getting in front of their social presence as quickly as possible?
Well, I think the slide you just showed there answers the question. If you don't, your competitors will. And it's all about market share, right? And if they're acquiring all of the customers on social media, and look, guys, this is where people are now. This is where their attention is. This is absolutely where you have to be. And if your competitors are there and they're posting better content, they're engaging with the community and they're building a following and you're not, what they're doing is they're capturing market share. And you know how it is. Once they capture the market share, it's hard to pull it back. So you want to get ahead of it now. You want to get in there and, the big brands and whatnot, they've been on social media pushing it hard for a while, but small business has been slower to adopt it. And now it's time. Now it's time to hit the gas, to come up with a solution and a strategy that you can start to build a following on social media and start to acquire that market share.
Perfect. Great. So jumping into those nice 5 keys, and thank you very much, JB, for that. I think that was really insightful. The next question a lot of people are going to have is, how do I do this, right? Everything you just said, it makes sense to me. I understand what you're trying to accomplish here, but can we walk some of these small business owners through, here's kind of the steps of which you need to take to actually accomplish these goals?
Yep, absolutely. And I think we have a pretty good here, 9-step process that you guys can follow. And like I said, you can get this deck afterwards and go through this. And if you haven't done these things, just make sure you do it. Almost think of this like a checklist as far as how you need to basically take action here to get this thing rolling down the pipe. So let's just jump in and take a look at it. So first off, decide what social platforms to start with. That'd be the first thing there. And you can see we listed, some of the popular options there would be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest. There's more than that, obviously. What you want to do is you want to think about, where's your ideal customer spending their time? You don't have to start with all of these. That would almost be overkill. But what you want to do is just pick, maybe 2, 3 that you think that your ideal customer is spending most of their time. That would be a good starting point, because you can always add more later, right? And then what platforms are your competitors investing time in would be another thing to check. Maybe you're not quite sure. Take a look at your competitors in the space and then just see, hey, where are they spending their time on social media? Where are they posting content? Where are they getting the most engagement? Actually go through their feed, look at the posts that they've put through, the type of content and the engagement. That'll give you a kind of a pulse for, where maybe you need to head in terms of which platforms to set up and where you need to start.
Perfect. Yeah, the other thing that I would probably add to that is, in figuring out which social platform you're going to start with, is probably start with one that you're familiar with, right? If you feel comfortable with getting content out there in a way to just promote your brand, that's a great place to start. So maybe start with some of the popular ones that you're currently using. Slide number 2 here, we talk about setting up and populating professional brand within the social profiles. So I think this one's pretty straightforward, JB. When you're talking about setting up the pictures, the profiling, everything is looking back at brand and trust. Everything needs to look good. So take a little bit of time, maybe hire a professional designer, get a good logo up there, get a good background image, and to make sure that you fully populate those fields. when people are going through your social platforms, they want to make sure that they can get the answers to what they're looking for as quickly as possible. So if you have all the fields populated, that's definitely going to help you out. And then also the last one here, making a clear call to action. How do people connect with you? Do you want them to fill out a form? Do you want them to give you a call? What is it that you're trying to accomplish with these customers that are coming to you? And then JB, I think understanding the difference of how to get content out there in front of new prospects and new customers is extremely important. And I think here that the top topic number 3 is a perfect presentation for you to walk through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, understanding the difference between paid and organic social content and developing a strategy for both is obviously key. And so there is always some confusion with regards to paid and organic content. We see it all the time with the different people we talk to and work with. So I put a couple examples in there just to help you kind of reference and think about it a little bit. Example 1 would be paid social would be equivalent to a TV commercial, where you have a popular TV show on or TV event of some sort, and you want to leverage getting in front of that audience that's watching that. So you would run a commercial, and that would be like paid social, to where I can target a certain demographic of people. I can target an audience of people that maybe has been following other social profiles, things like that, and I can leverage that audience by getting my ad in front of those people, so I can run an ad so that they see it. That would be paid social, similar to a TV commercial. Then, the opposite of that would be a TV show. So that would be actually you building your own audience. You are the TV show. That'd be organic. So that would be like building a following on social media, posting content on social media. Over time, you're building a following for social media or your TV show, and people are following that. And obviously, that's going to drive a tremendous amount of sales. It's going to take longer to get there, obviously. So those are the 2 different things. You can be running a TV commercial, or you can be the actual TV show. TV commercial will be the paid, TV show will be the organic approach. So the second example there would be just Google. So Google, we're all comfortable and understand Google. Google, when you search something, they have paid ads on top, and then they have the organic listings below that. So there's really kind of 2 areas on a search page at Google. A paid ad is the listing on top. The organic listing is the listing below. The paid ad, you can be there tomorrow based on your budget. You can really get there short term and see those results. The organic takes time. You got to continually optimize your website, get recognized by Google. And as you do that, it starts to build the number of keywords you're ranking for. You start to rank higher. That would be organic. So in the social world, it's very much the same. You can get instant visibility based on your budget by doing paid marketing and paid advertising on social media, running ads, targeting different demographics and that sort of thing. Or you can also build your social profiles up, build your presence on social media to kind of build your own audience that you can tap into over time to generate those sales. We definitely recommend doing both. We think both are important. And actually, if you do both well, they both work better. It's one of those synergistic things. So that's what we've seen.
And you brought up a point about the organic content. I think anytime you're talking about an organic content, organic strategies, is one of those overwhelming talking pieces, right? Again, going back to the time it takes for small business owners and what they all have. I think that it's great that we have on this next slide, we put together how do you actually put together an organic content strategy. And I'd love for you to walk them through this real quick.
Yeah, so this slide here, it looks intense. I get it. This will be a good one to reference back to for sure. But these are some good questions you think about and actually help yourself develop this strategy. So the first thing there is, what is your niche? What is that? What is your main focus point? And that's going to need to stay consistent. People that follow you are following you because of the type of content that you're posting. So you don't want to waver from that, or what you're going to do is you're going to lose followers, and people are going to get frustrated probably. So you want to stay within that wheelhouse. So for us, for example, it's marketing, design, and sales. Those are the topics that fit within our wheelhouse. We try to stay within that. That's all we create content for, all we talk about. If I tried to start talking about my dog or where I vacation on the weekend, while maybe interesting to some, it's not going to be interesting for the general population of folks following us. So it's going to hurt our presence overall. So stay within your niche. Second one there is, who are you targeting? You want to think about the buyer persona. What's the age demographic? What's the pain points these people have? What's their interests? Really think about who you're specifically targeting, because that's going to help you put you in the right frame of mind for the type of content that you're creating. Third one there is what are you posting? And you can see I have a little bullet point there that kind of flies out to the side there to give in some additional questions. And what are you posting really kind of breaks down to a number of sub questions. And that would be, what are your customers' questions? That's the perfect first starting point. If you think about the typical questions that your customers have, almost like an FAQ when you're in your sales process, what are the concerns they have? What are the questions they have? If you bullet pointed every single question that somebody might have in your space, those are all great topic ideas. You know, those can be videos, those can be image posts, those can be a number of things, but that's going to give you a huge list, basically a library of ideas to work off of. Next one there is what type of content do they like? That might be something you learn over time through trial and error. But first place to look is just, if you have competitors posting content, what are people engaging with the most? You know, what are the pieces of content that seem to be most effective? Try to figure what that is, and that's going to help you with your initial content strategy. Third one there is why do they want to know, or what do they want to know? What do they want to know more about? Not just the questions that they have, but what do they want to continually, like continual education wise, learn about? And so think about that in terms of your content strategy. Next one there is what inspires them or entertains them. You know, you want it to be entertaining to a certain extent, or inspiring. Not just educational. Educational is good, but all those pieces are going to help add variety to your content strategy. And then I put some example posts in there just for you to think about. Think about having a variety of different posts, so it's got a nice cadence to it, but you got maybe videos, stats, quotes, blog articles, customer stories, case studies, holidays you can highlight, company news and updates. You got employee spotlights you can do. You can highlight customer reviews. You can even document stuff as you go, just recording day-to-day things that are interesting around your business and your day-to-day lifestyle within your niche. And so those are all different ideas. If you can come up with that cadence, you'll have a nice variety in your feed that's going to look good and be interesting to people. And then the last piece there is key to good content is add value. At the end of the day, you absolutely have to add value. I mean, never just post for the sake of posting. You should be posting something that you feel is going to add value to the person that sees it. They're either going to learn something, they're going to laugh about something, they're going to be inspired by it in some way, but it's a good piece of content that's going to give them value. If you're adding value, they're going to share your content, they're going to engage with your content, they're going to continue following you. And those are all things that you need in order to grow. So is this making sense, Seth? I'll keep working through this. Is there anything I'm missing?
Absolutely. No, you're going through all the topic points, and I was jumping back and forth there. But the next kind of question on this, and I get asked a bunch, is how often am I supposed to be posting? Is it once a day? Is it once every other day? Have you found the sweet spot for ourselves?
Yeah, you know, we've experimented with this in a lot of ways. And, you know, I think that it depends on your business and and exactly what you're trying to do. I don't think we ever recommend posting less than 2-3 times a week. That's kind of bare minimum, you know. Ideally, once a day. Once a day, I think, is most effective. We've experimented with posting 2, 3, 4 times a day. Currently, we're posting 2-3 times a day right now. And actually, we're making an adjustment to our own strategy just in this next couple weeks, where we're going to cut that down a little bit and post maybe 1 time a day, but just put a little more heart into each piece of content, truly add value to our following. We feel that's going to be more beneficial. And so that's a slight tweak that we're making, but there is no wrong or right answer. I think you need to be posting consistently with regards to a weekly basis. And I think at least 2 or 3 times a week at just the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, you know, an interesting point that you were talking about is looking at kind of the analytics of it. When we're changing our processing style and how we're kind of dropping back a little bit, I think it's important to understand and look at the analytics. How are my clients interacting, and how are they engaging? How long are they spending on my post, whether it's a video post, or are you getting them to actually comment and respond back at the same time? So making sure you have a good tracking system. tie that into kind of the budget side of things as well. If you see an organic post that is going really well for you, make sure that you have a budget set aside for the promotional items of those. But I think that this slideshow is going to be a great reference point, as you said, JB, for people to come back to and kind of explore. But always coming back to it, right, is I'm a small business owner, and what am I supposed to do? Slide number 5 right here, just get after it. Start posting. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can always adjust your campaigns as you go along. Of course, everybody is going to improve. Their branding is going to get better. You're going to find better images and different ways to get your information out there. But that's kind of the number one starting point, is just start posting. Again, you kind of hit it. You don't always have to know how everything works. It is kind of a process. The analytics are going to tell you what you need to do and how you need to change. So you can definitely learn as you go. But an extremely important item here, it's not just about starting. Motivation is one thing, but actually committing to something and continually posting. Get a schedule, get on track, make sure that you can get this information out there on a consistent basis. That's really going to show your clients that you're dedicated to not only your brand, but to the success of their businesses as well. If you're helping small businesses, or if it's customers that you're just working at on the entail. So the other thing when posting, JB, you've asked from a company perspective, and we've all jumped on board. Everybody here at Marketing 360 loves to promote our own brand, but how do you go about asking friends and family to, hey, share my post, or hey, get my information out there, coming from you who's done it before?
Yeah, I think once you're ready to go and you have a good content strategy in place and you've started maybe posting a little bit of content, and you feel good about it and you're ready to kind of hit the gas on it, an easy thing to do is ask your friends, family, and coworkers to jump in and help ignite this thing and get it started. So this is really just like a starting point to help propel you into this whole process. And so if you can get, a nice chunk of followers right out of the gate, that's nice. The easiest way to do it, friends and family. I mean, those are the most convertible people of all, right? They're going to follow you. They're going to engage and like your content. And then ask all of your coworkers, everybody you know within your company, have them also follow you, start engaging and liking your content and sharing it and that sort of a thing. This will help get that snowball going. Obviously, that's not going to continue, growing. That's kind of like just an initial starting point, but it lights the match and it gets things started, gets you off and rolling. You feel good about it. So that's just a recommendation, as far as getting things started there. Hey, Seth, if you don't mind, can you go back to slide 4 real quick? There was one thing there that I did want to mention too before we went too deep. Yeah, expand that open here so these guys can see it. Let's see. Yeah, the one piece here that I wanted to highlight was who's in charge. That bullet point there. There's a lot of pieces to that. You have people that need to be in charge of the content, the posting, the engaging, the promoting, and it really is a full-time job. And so that's something that you definitely want to think about. I know a lot of small business owners are so busy running their business. The reason they haven't started with social media is because there's literally not enough time. And so, if it's not you, it needs to be somebody. You can't not do it, I think, is the takeaway that I wanted to leave there. Like, hey, you either need to carve out some time, get up earlier, stay up later, or have somebody in your company doing it. Or you need to work with somebody and, hire somebody to do it. It's not something you can skip at the end of the day. I mean, this is the time that if you want to be in business in the future, you're going to have to focus on building your social presence. So don't keep this on the sideline. If you're on the sideline now, you need to figure out how to get a process in place and somebody in charge to start executing on these things.
Great point there. And once we're talking about the promoting of these organic information, all the content and images we're getting out there, we're asking friends and family now to get out there and promote. How's one way to piggyback off of that success from a paid perspective? Here, this slide number 7 is called investing in increasing reach and building awareness for your social profiles. But what does that actually mean when we're putting content out there on Facebook?
Yeah, I think that basically what we're talking about there is not just the pure organic approach. The pure organic approach used to work pretty well, but it doesn't work so good anymore. We actually just talked to Facebook here last week, our rep there, and they had said, pretty much straight up that the organic content is last in their priority in terms of showing up in somebody's feed, the pure organic. The organic that has some fuel behind it, somebody's put some budget behind, increasing the reach or awareness on that piece of content, is going to get a higher priority. And so what they're doing every time a user logs into Facebook, they're basically looking through 15,000 pieces of potential content based on that follower's engagement, who they're following. They're narrowing that down to 1,500. So 10 times is getting cut out. They're cutting it down to 1,500, and the priority there in that 1,500, the lowest is going to be the pure organic. So what does that mean? What that means is when you're posting your content in your feed and whatnot, go in and boost that content. You can boost it, or you can build a campaign for reach or awareness, and you can just put those pieces of content into that campaign. What's going to happen is Facebook's going to give it priority over some of this general, just pure organic. You're going to get seen more. So you're going to be able to build your snowball faster over time if you're putting some budget behind it. Now, I know you're thinking that sounds expensive. It really isn't. I mean, we see great results putting $5 behind a post, putting $10 behind a post. You're talking even $100 a month would be decent in terms of getting a really good growth curve going for your social following and engagement. And so something to think about there is don't just be posting on your brand good content. Put a little juice behind it in terms of boosting and promoting that content as well.
And we do have some case studies that we are going to show here later on in this live broadcast. So stick around for that, where we can show great success putting exactly what JB said, $5 into a campaign, $10 into a campaign. So please do stick around for that. We've been touching on organic pretty much this entire time. Boosting, is a little bit of a paid strategy there, but let's kind of get into how do I put together, a paid ad strategy, and how do I actually start promoting this?
Yeah, so the paid ad strategy is a little different. With your organic strategy, you're going to be posting value add content. It's not salesy. You're not trying necessarily to sell anybody. You're more so trying to educate them and entertain them and inspire them. And therefore, you're building an audience and a following, and you're building trust. When they're ready to buy, they'll buy. You don't have to even ask. Okay, that's the organic strategy. Now on the paid strategy, that's different. That's more of the commercial-based approach, where you're going to target a demographic of people with a clear call to action of some sort, and you're going to try to get those people to engage there and take action and become some sort of a conversion, whether it signs up to a newsletter or it becomes a lead, or they call you, or they fill out a lead form or ask for a quote. Whatever you're going for, it's more of the conversion-based thought process, not so much the audience building thought process. And so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to really have tight targeting. So think about your targeting there, target the right audience, and layer it. By layering it, I mean, there's, like in Facebook, for example, there's a tremendous amount of ways you can target somebody. For example, you could target, we did some stuff for the Broncos here recently. We work with those guys a little bit, and they were doing something for a franchise, trying to sell a fitness franchise type of a thing. And, you're really able to target down very specifically on that to say, show me anybody that lives in Colorado, show me anybody that's of this income level, that's of this age demographic, that's interested in franchises, that is interested in fitness. And by layering it down, you have this huge population of people, and then it gets smaller and it gets smaller and it gets smaller until it's this group of people that's so targeted, it's almost as good as inbound, because if you could just get in front of them, they'd be interested because it's just so targeted. So that's the targeting piece. So think about that. Next thing there is decide on the campaign type. There's a screenshot right there we have, which shows just on Facebook alone the different campaign types that you have. So you see brand awareness and reach on the left. That'd be more on the social side, just increasing your reach typically. But then that middle column there and on the right-hand side there, that would be conversion based. So traffic campaigns would be driving traffic to your website or a landing page. Lead ads is real popular too, where somebody can actually see your ad on Facebook. They can click to get a free quote or something like that, depending on what your call to action is. It would open up a form, which is pre-populated with their name, phone, and email, because Facebook already knows that. They could literally click one button and boom, you get the lead. It's unbelievable. You can even add other fields there if you want them to fill out other fields of information. So that's really powerful. So just think about your campaign type and what's going to make the most sense in terms of grabbing the conversion. Next piece there is continually design new creative. This is something we see a lot of people fail at. They start a campaign, they have some really nice ads, maybe they have a video ad, something like that, and it works really well, and then it stops working. And what's happened is what we call ad fatigue. Too many people have seen it too many times, and so it's become wallpaper to them. They're not converting, and the performance falls off on the campaign. And so ad frequency is something we look at, and you want to keep that between 3 and 5. If you don't show somebody the ad 3 times, you haven't shown it enough. If you show it more than 5 times, you've shown it too much. So between 3 and 5 times, ad frequency is a column. It's a metric in your Facebook ads. If you can stay within that window, you're going to see the best results. If you go outside of that, you're going to see the cost per conversion really spike up, which is not something that you want. So basically, at a high level, image ads are going to last between 3 and 4 weeks. So every 3 and 4 weeks, you're going to want to update your ads. That's typically going to be perfect. Video ads have a longer shelf life. Video ads are going to last closer to 6 weeks. And you don't have to have a lot of changes on these things. You can design a video ad, for example, up front, and then you can make 6 versions of it, different colors, different background images, same messaging, same call to action, that's fine. But the different colors and images and whatnot, when it comes through somebody's feed, it's going to resonate with them. They're going to identify with it because it's no longer wallpaper. And so you're going to keep that ad frequency pretty low, and you're going to convert pretty well. So if you design, 6 image ads up front, every time your ad frequency reaches 3 to 5, you can replace that ad. And essentially what you've done by pre-designing these things up front is you kind of designed the amount of work you need to do for 6 months all up front. So you just swap out the ads. And so that's going to generally perform really well. Key takeaway here, you need a good designer. You need a good designer. You need somebody that can create videos or help you create videos. And, you can even use your smartphone yourself if you have time to do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be highly professional, but it needs to be quality content in terms of the value that you're delivering. But design does matter in social more than anything. It's very visual based. So you need to have really nice creatives. Seth, you want to hit on those other 3 points there?
Absolutely. The monitor and respond to your comments, I think, is going to be extremely important. When you're building your brand awareness, you're trying to get this information out there, you need to make sure that the people that you're getting your content in front of, you're actually engaging with them and showing that you care about them as customers. So that's going to be a key, as well as you want to be able to track these results and optimize them as you go. An interesting point, we've been talking about organic a lot. You can actually use a lot of the organic lists and the demographics and who you're trying to target with these ad campaigns. But then once you start getting more awareness through your paid ad strategies, you can then look at those analytics again and kind of revisit it, say, is this actually the demographic or the type that I'm trying to get after? So having someone on your staff that understands the analytics, that really understands just how to create new ads and optimize these ads is going to be really important. And then diversify to other channels. So you always want to be able to leverage the success of some of your social channels to others. And what we mean by that is maybe you have a really good Instagram following, but you're kind of lacking on the Facebook side. What you can do is take the information that's working well on your Instagram channel, use the same demographic profiles, get that over to your Facebook channel, and then utilize those ads that were successful on the other social platforms for the ones that maybe lack a little bit. So those are some of the key takeaways that I think you can pull from this slide. And please do jump into the deck. We do have a lot of followers here, so we're really excited. Please don't forget to ask any questions that you guys have. But jumping over to kind of the next strategy here, JB, is all about what we've been talking about is just get started. Kind of following up on that is you got to be patient. This isn't going to blow up. You're not going to go viral. You're not going to have 100,000 people seeing your assets and viewing your information. But it is really important that when you look at who you're trying to get in front of, you're creating well thought out, good content that's going to get your clients to engage with you. The more engagement you get, the more trust your brand is going to be able to have. Don't give up. You have to just look at it. If you posted something and it didn't go the way you wanted, just take a step back, adjust the campaigns, adjust the content that you're putting out there in front of them, and just keep promoting and get it out there. Going back to this, not going to blow up. JB, you use this internally with Marketing 360 just about every day. It's going to be slow to start, but that's also you're pumping the primer on the water pump, right? You're going to pump, and it's not gonna get any water out. So you really got to pump and just keep going after until that seal finally gets a little bit wet, and then it's just going to overflow and the water's just going to keep coming. And that's what we're talking about when we're looking at your social media campaigns. Organic is 100% that, but you can leverage the paid ad strategy to get a little bit quicker of a jump in that. Would you say that's true, JB?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think that we just constantly see that with the people we work with ourselves, is you just start going and you feel good about the content and the value and the strategy, and you know the content is good and strong, but nothing's happening. Like your followers really aren't growing, the engagement isn't really growing. Just stay patient, just stay disciplined, just keep doing it. And it's just like a water pump. As you're pumping like crazy, nothing's happening, but then all of a sudden, boom, the water starts to flow. Then you don't need to even pump as hard, and it keeps on flowing. And so just stay consistent with it, stay passionate to it. If you know you're putting out good, valuable content, people eventually will see that and start to follow you and engage. So just trust the process and stay with it. And then one takeaway here is do more of what's working and less of what's not. We always say that here. It's so true. You have to look at the data, though. If you're not looking at the data, you don't necessarily know what is working and what's not working. So if you're looking at the data, you can see what's getting the most engagement, what's driving the most traffic or the most conversion, and just do more of that. And the stuff that's not driving you results, do less of that. If you just do that simple thing with any marketing channel, not just social media, you're going to see an increased return on investment over time.
Absolutely. This is probably my most favorite part of any opportunity to talk to clients, is actually going through the case studies and the successes that we've brought to some of our clients we work with. So JB, I'm going to kind of jump through some of these slides, and if you want me to blow them up, let me know. But let's hear about the successes of some of our customers.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you do want to pop it open there, we have some different types of things here. Nothing too crazy, just some examples for you to think about. This was a post here, an organic post that they put $5 behind it. Like I said earlier, you don't need to put a lot behind it in order to increase the reach and awareness. 6,000 people saw it. It earned 773 reactions. So pretty good. When you think about it, I don't even know what is that per, like a cent, per interaction or something crazy. So great value here. And what we see is not just that you're increasing your reach and your reactions, but what we often see on the back end is you also start to see more leads and more sales, which is the end goal, right? So I thought that was a good example of you don't need a lot of budget, but you get some good results.
Absolutely. And then an important thing when we're talking about the social media, again, this is straight from Google. This isn't something that we put together, but on mobile alone, in an average week, YouTube reaches more adults 18 plus or older during prime time than any cable network does. So you touched on it, JB, there at the beginning of our webinar here about the importance of getting in front of the people at the time that they're in front of their devices. And from that statistic alone, they're on their mobile devices, they're sitting on the couch, but instead of watching TV, they actually have YouTube pulled up. So I think it's a great thing to think about when you're trying to get new, fresh content out there. If you're creating ads or video advertisements through Facebook and you're putting them out there, also make sure you create that YouTube channel and you're leveraging that content within YouTube as well.
Yeah, and guys, if you watch a World Series, in case you haven't noticed, YouTube's taken over. I mean, YouTube Live, they have YouTube everywhere. Cable networks are probably going to go away in the next couple of years. I mean, people are going to be using YouTube, watching everything on YouTube. They're going to be watching their shows on YouTube. They have, big name channels on there now. And so, if you think about it, you can actually even be in somebody's evening watch list if you have good content. They're going to add their favorite show on NBC on there and record that, and maybe their favorite sports game, and then they're going to click to watch your show later too. How crazy is that? Plus, you can tap into these audiences and start doing advertising in a very targeted way, basically TV marketing at a local level. So it's going to be very exciting in the next couple of years with YouTube.
And we do have another organic boost post here. Can you walk us through this one, JB?
Yeah, same kind of thing as we looked at before. This one here was boosted with only $10. And you can see the reach was 10,000 people. So this is 10,000 people that saw this post, and it earned 1,200 reactions. So what that tells me is the targeting was good because the reactions were high, right? If the targeting was bad, nobody would have reacted. But the reactions, meaning somebody liked it, commented, hearted it, those kinds of things. That's what a reaction is. People were engaging with this piece of content. And so it just goes to show you again, for $10, you got in front of 10,000 people. I mean, that was unheard of in the old days. To get in front of 10,000 people in a small town, and the newspaper cost you who knows how much money, you can spend $10 on Facebook now and get a real good reach.
Yeah, and there's a couple different ways to actually get your information out there in front of people. We've been talking paid ad strategies, boosting your content, getting information out there. I thought that this is a pretty cool slide that we put together from Google as well, talking about influencers, how to use influencers leads to lift the brand metrics. But can you give us a couple real world ideas of how to actually utilize influencers for whether it is YouTube or your other social platforms?
Well, I think the one thing that's interesting here on this slide is the one there on the right, which is that the younger demographics, more than ever, they actually trust the people they're following on YouTube more than even like celebrity endorsements. And so I thought that was interesting. And so you don't need to necessarily, when we say influencer, this would be somebody that has a decent following on social media, but they don't need to have a huge following. They just have a real strong following within their niche. And basically what we're talking about here is if you can get them engaged with your content, first way to do that is engage with theirs. Okay, so find out who these people are that have a good social following that are within your wheelhouse, and you need to engage with them. You need to follow them. You need to like their content. You need to communicate with them, maybe even direct message them, build some trust, build a relationship there. What will happen is over time, they'll start to engage with your content and they'll start to follow you. And when that happens, you're going to see a tremendous increase in the amount of followers and engagement that you have, because their whole following is going to now see that the person that they follow likes you. And so it's natural. I like you too, right? We've been trained that since kids, right? My friend likes those friends, so they're my friends too, right? That's natural. And so that's the way it works on social media. Now, if they actually get to the point where they talk about your brand or your product, you're really going to blow up. We had a client recently, it was an e-commerce store, and they had a nice product, and there was a popular country singer out there that happened to end up buying their product and really just ended up liking it. And they sent them actually some free products, I do believe, just to, as kind of a thank you. And this is cool that they liked my product. Well, what happened was this country singer ended up posting on Instagram her wearing this product, and she shouted out the brand where she bought the product. And I'm telling you, they exploded. They had so many orders coming in, literally every minute. They couldn't even keep up with it. It took them 4 days just to fulfill all of these orders because this one person decided to shout out their brand. But it started with them kind of networking and working with them, sending them some free products and whatnot. It ended up being tremendous. So that's what we're talking about with influencer marketing. But it starts here. It doesn't start with you just sending somebody a free product or something and asking them to do something for you. Where it really starts is you starting to follow their content, engage with it, and build some trust on that front, and then you kind of warm up to it.
That's such a cool story. I think that influencers are definitely going to be the next thing, especially even talking Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is huge. I really think that watching the next few years with influencer marketing is going to be really intriguing. And talking about social, a lot of times we say local, but a lot of people don't really understand that when we say local, we can get extremely local. And in this example, we're talking about Snapchat geo filters. This is something I know we've created a couple for clients, but give us your spin on this, JB. Why would it be important if I'm a local person to create this Snapchat geo filter for people to use?
Yeah, this is a good example of how a small local business can take advantage of something like Snapchat. So this particular client is a bridal store, and what they did was they geo-targeted their physical store. So within Snapchat, you can actually draw a geo fence around your building, for example, and target that. And so whenever somebody walks within that geofence, so essentially comes into your store, when they're using Snapchat and they're taking a picture of, the brides trying on the dresses or whatever, and they're snapping that, when they go through their filters, Snapchat has all kinds of like fun filters and everything. Well, one of them would be a filter for this particular bridal store. And so you can see an image of it there. It kind of frames in the picture of the bride, looks cool, has a call to action sort of with regards to just their brand on there, and then essentially they add it to their story. Well, when they add it to their story, let's say that they had 100 people that follow them on a daily basis. When they add it to their story, 100 people now are open to your brand. They saw your brand via the geo filter. This built some trust, and really it's kind of rented space in their mind again to say, hey, maybe when I get married, I'm going to use those guys too, so it's going to increase your sales. And I thought it was interesting that for the entire year, for that particular customer, it was only $1,500. So really not a lot when you think about if you took that down to a daily budget, wouldn't be much at all. And so that's something you can think about. If you're a restaurant, maybe draw a geo fence around your restaurant, do a Snapchat geo filter when people are snapping in your restaurant, taking a picture of their kids on their birthday or whatever, going through the filters there. Maybe you have a fun one about your restaurant. If they add that to their story and share it, now everybody sees it. Maybe somebody says, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my kid there for their birthday. Boom. Now you just got some sales.
Oh, absolutely. Mini influencer marketing almost as well, right? And depending on your geo-targeted location, I mean, if you're in a big city that has professional athletes, celebrities visiting every once in a while, and you have a Snapchat geo filter, let's say you are a restaurant and professional NBA player walks into your restaurant, is on Snapchat, sees your geo filter, you could put your brand in front of millions of people who's following them on Snapchat right then. So I think that that's a pretty cool, for local, maybe more of a mini influencer marketing idea. I like that. But it could go viral as well. So great topic.
Well,
there.
And Seth, you can also, do some crazy stuff with it too. Like if there's a popular trade show in your niche, you could draw a geo fence around that trade show, and you could basically have a custom geo filter when people are Snapchatting at the trade show. That's your brand. You could even, if you had a booth there, you could even have the geo filter say something like, come to, booth 100 for a $10 gift card to Starbucks or something like that. I mean, really the ideas are endless. If you think about it, you can really take advantage of this particular ad type on Snapchat.
Oh, absolutely. Great ideas there. One thing, this next slide, this talking about just a good little quote here from George Pepstefanoff. Sorry, I probably totally butchered your name there. But he says, don't make changes to your creative branding until you know you're reaching the right customers, those that have the most high value for your brand. I think this really goes right back to the analytics, right? Understanding what you're putting out there in front of people, track the analytics, make sure people are engaging with it. And then once you do see you need to make a change, make sure you do it with engaging content for the people who are actually going to turn into good clients and prospects for you.
Yep. And then here's another post here, another organic post, $10 boosted. Was all, reached 22,000 people, earned 598 reactions. Here, this was a kind of an interesting content idea, actually. This is one here where they took a popular quote and they just customized it slightly to fit their niche, right? They threw therapy in there, which you could almost swap that out with anything, right? Mm-hmm. To a certain extent. So they took that quote, they customized it a little bit to fit their niche, and they posted it and people loved it, right? And so for that small budget, had a lot of reactions, did really well.
Yeah, perfect example there. And you've been working primarily on our YouTube page. You've been creating all the content, all the scripts, all the videos. And this was really a project for you that you looked at us as a company and said, you know what, we need to tackle this, right? As in, we need to hire somebody. And if I'm not going to hire somebody, I got to do it myself. Here's a screenshot that you put together showing kind of the successes and why you want to get YouTube and good content out there. But This didn't happen on your first video, right? How many videos do you think it took to start getting a good enough following where people are starting to ask you about our services?
Yeah, it took a while. This is a screenshot from our YouTube comments, and that you can see there within those, 4 comments, 2 of them are leads. So it just goes to show you, people say, I can't get leads on social media. Well, you can, because we're getting it, and we're seeing that. So we have 2 leads right there out of the 4 comments. And so very, very powerful. That being said, back to what I said in the beginning, it's like a water pump. I had probably done 100 videos before we started to see that, So you had to really build trust and confidence. But definitely it does work if you're providing value. If you're providing value, people eventually will say, hey, I trust you. Now I'm ready to move forward. And you know what? I'm not going with anybody but you. That's the thought process you want to have. And if you like this kind of content, guys, on the webinar today, definitely take a look at our YouTube, youtube.com/marketing360, and subscribe, because we do, micro pieces of content similar to this, but I mean, literally much shorter, 5-10 minutes. And we post those videos, 1 or 2 times a week as well. So good content for you to check out.
Yeah. And the one thing I did want to tell everybody who is following us, yes, we are going to end this webinar at some point. I know we just keep going on and on, but we're kind of excited about this, it being our first. We do have a couple more slides probably coming up on that hour mark, but do keep in mind, we are going to be putting this video back out there. It is recorded, so we'll have it if you have to jump off, but a couple more slides here as we go to end it. This one talking about cross promoting through different social media channels. JB, can you kind of walk us through, this goes back to my discussion, if one social platform is better than the other, how to leverage it. Can you show us some of the statistics here?
Yeah, so this case study here is just showcasing that this particular brand had a good following on Instagram, but a weak following on Facebook. And so they did some cross promoting where they essentially posted on Instagram saying, hey, check out our live video on Facebook, or hey, check out this piece of content on Facebook, and kind of funneled some of that visibility that way, and they saw tremendous results from that. So you can see there the graphics, as far as the stats go, every single metric was up. They picked up 148 new followers basically instantly with that cross promotion. So something to think about.
Was that, was it organic based? Was that paid ad strategy based?
That was just an organic post on Instagram. They had a good, strong following on Instagram, so it just instantly drove those results.
Oh, that's great. And this was an interesting slide too. I had never seen that before. Can you walk us through, is this giving people ideas of their high traffic keywords? Is that what this is showing?
Yeah, this is a great hack, guys. If you're looking for content ideas and you really don't know, go into YouTube. YouTube is a great place to do this with. You can do this on Google search too, but YouTube in particular, because this is really where people are looking for educational / entertaining type of content, and put in your niche there. So I put digital marketing, because that's where we focus. And if you just put digital marketing in, it'll autofill about 10 ideas of the most popular searched terms or phrases with the phrase digital marketing within it. Those are all topic ideas. Those are topics you can do videos about, you can do little courses about, that kind of a thing. If you put the underscore space in front of it, it'll show you other phrases that don't start with digital marketing but have digital marketing in the phrase somewhere. It'll show you the top 10 most popular phrases. So if you go through and add all the keywords relevant to your business, you'll probably end up with a couple hundred ideas as far as content ideas.
Yeah, great hack there. I think that's going to be perfect. And then we have another slide here showing the organic post and boosting this. This one we used $20. We reached 15,737 people and earned 463 reactions. And I think that the huge takeaway from this one, JB, right, is those numbers were in 1 hour. That wasn't the lifetime of this campaign, but that's what we were able to promote, boost, and reach within an hour. Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and you see that piece of content had some humor mixed in there. So if you read that, it's kind of funny. And so people reacted well to it right away.
Absolutely. And then this slide talking about 81% of YouTube video viewing occasions get all or most of people's attention. Now, is that direct reference to the popular videos on YouTube? Is that what that's meaning, JB?
Well, I think what it means is when people are watching TV, they're getting interrupted, they're looking at their Facebook feed, their attention isn't completely on the TV. But when you're on YouTube and you're searching for a video and you're watching the video, your attention is typically 100% on that. And so it's a much higher focus rate in terms of other mediums.
Okay, perfect. And another slide we have talking about our own case study. This was an interesting paid ad strategy. You saw a good performing video and then decided to promote that. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we targeted business owners that were interested in marketing automation, and we targeted those audiences. So this was a paid strategy targeting people that weren't necessarily following us, taking advantage of other audiences on Facebook. And we ran this video ad. We spent $75,000 on it over 30 days, so had a pretty strong budget behind it. Had almost 900,000 views on it, 4,000 reactions, 800 shares, 300 comments, and what I like, 663 leads were generated, which is $100 cost per lead, which for us is pretty good. You know, typically when we look at all the different channels that we market on, it's generally coming in around $100 cost per lead. The interesting thing here, though, is even though the cost was competitive to all the other channels we advertise on, the quality was better with this video because people were more educated, they trusted us more, and so we were able to turn more of those into customers.
Mm-hmm. And by quality, you're actually saying that the leads that we got, we were able to convert them into paying clients more so than the other mediums we're using to promote our advertisements.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. This next slide actually touches home with me, looking since I am a millennial. But when learning something, new millennials are 2.7 times as likely to prefer to do so by watching a YouTube video compared to reading a book. I am one, and I can say that I do this. I would much rather go open one of my son's toy boxes and see directions. I'd much rather go to a YouTube video of how to actually put the toy together. So I think that that's a great slide that we put in there. Just again, understanding what is it that your ideal client is going to, what mediums are they using, and what content are they going to be utilizing. This actually is an example of how Facebook lead ads work. So a lot of people didn't know that you can really simply collect people's information by creating a Facebook lead ad that looks pretty much like an organic post.
Yep, you can post. It just looks just like a post on Facebook. Somebody will see it in their feed, and then they click the call to action button. In this case, it says get quote. It then opens up a lead form, which you're seeing on slide 2 there, and it's pre-populated because Facebook already knows the individual's name, phone, email, that kind of a thing. So it's already there, and they can click immediately to submit it, which submits that lead to you as a business owner to reach out to them to basically execute on the free quote, and it leads them to a thank you page, where you can have a little bit more information if you wanted to. 3-step process, really smooth, really easy. The person never even leaves the native app, and you get the lead. It's a one-click to checkout type of a process.
Awesome. And then this was actually a LinkedIn strategy. I believe, was this our own advertisement again that we did through LinkedIn, a case study on us?
It was. This was a LinkedIn campaign, a paid campaign running a video ad targeting business owners within a certain demographic that we were targeting. We were able to generate 31 high quality leads and nearly 80,000 impressions. So 80,000 business owners on LinkedIn became aware of our brand through this ad. 31, at least at the time of this screenshot, had converted into becoming an actual lead. Lead quality was strong. I would imagine of that 80,000, you'll see over the next 6 months a trickle in of many more leads as we go.
Mm-hmm. Great. So talking about different platforms, different strategies, really just you need to kind of look at the analytics, fine tune it to see where are my mediums, where am I getting that best ROI when I put X amount of dollars into it, what do I get out? So I think it's always something you should probably test out other platforms. When you're creating an ad campaign for Facebook, of course, you just going to do it for Instagram. But if you are a B2B business, definitely try out LinkedIn, as well as let's get good content on your YouTube page. This slide I thought was really interesting, and I can zoom in on it, but talking about brand and trust. I think that that's kind of the recurring theme here, right, JB, is you have to make sure you look professional. Your brand can identify, or clients can identify with your brand. And on top of that, you need to make sure they have a frictionless experience. So if they're going from their desktop or their laptop or their mobile device, this quote says 59% of people are likely to recommend a brand if it delivers a frictionless experience across channels. Now, would you even take this one step further and say it's not only about your social platforms, but actually your website as well?
Yeah, I think the takeaway here is you can't control where people are looking for you, but you can control if you're there or not. And so that's the thing, is you want to be visible on all the channels where your customers potentially are. That would be Google, in their email inbox, maybe their SMS text message. You want to be available in all the social platforms that are relevant to you, maybe even local directory sites that are relevant to you. What you want to do is make sure that you're there, because if you're not there, you're not even in the game. And if you are there, as people move through these different channels on their normal day-to-day, if they're seeing you, this is building trust. It's a frictionless experience. You have a nice website that's mobile friendly. Everything seems to be full circle. It's the 360-degree approach. That's going to be really cohesive, and you're going to see those conversions.
Great content today. I really think that I learned a lot from a business perspective, and I hope that everybody viewing on Facebook, on YouTube, on Crowdcast, I hope you guys got a lot of questions answered for you. We didn't see many questions come through here. Hopefully we get more engagement here in the future. If anybody does have any questions right now, though, please feel free to throw them into the comment sections, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. I'm just going to look through here real quick, JB, before we jump off. Do you have any last minute words, things that popped into your head, the mastermind behind the success of Marketing 360?
No, I hope you guys enjoyed it today. Please leave a comment. If you have questions, leave questions in the comments. We're going to be monitoring that and answering those questions here over the course of the next couple of weeks. So don't be afraid to throw stuff in there. We're going to be doing this, mostly every Wednesday at 2:30. Thanksgiving week next week, we won't be on, but we'll be back the week after that. So every Wednesday, 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time, we're going to cover a lot of different topics. So if there's topic requests that you have, leave those in the comments. Leave a question if you have a question. That might be an idea for a future webinar. At the end of the day, we would just want to provide value to you. We love helping small businesses grow. That's our mission. Whether you're working with us or you're doing it yourself, or you're working with somebody else, all we want at the end of the day is to give you value so you can grow your business. And if we can do that, we feel like that we've won. So
yeah, and it actually looks like, JB, we have a couple questions here. So I'm starting to perk up. Phyllis over here said, can you comment on Google Ads? Phyllis, if you can, I guess, maybe elaborate on that question just a little bit more. Are you talking any specific Google ad in regards to that?
Maybe she's just, with regards to how it fits in the mix is what I'm thinking. And yeah, Google Ads is important, right? People are searching on Google. Think about your best keywords. Think about your bread and butter. We call it the golden keywords. Those are the ones you're going to want to target. Google can be very expensive, so you don't want to market for everything under the sun. Pick the very best keywords that you feel that you want to be visible for and invest in that. And then make sure you're in the top 3 listings, because especially on mobile, when somebody loads a Google search on their phone, they're going to see the top 2 or 3 listings. Those are going to be paid. They're going to have to scroll down even to see the maps or the organics. So you're going to want to make sure that you're visible there for the best keywords on top. So invest in being on top. But like we said earlier, they're going to search, they're going to find you, they're going to click your listing, they're going to go to your website, but before they call you or they fill out a lead form, they're going to check your reputation, they're going to check for social proof. So that's why you want to have those pieces strong too, so that you can leverage the Google Ads to get the best results possible.
Perfect. And a couple other questions that are still coming through here. This one, I believe, is on Facebook. Which channel would you start with if you are new to marketing?
I'm sorry, Seth, I missed that.
Oh, so the question was, which channel would you start with if you are new to marketing?
I see. Again, there's no right or wrong answer there. What you're going to want to think about is, where is your demographic? For example, if you have a real young demographic, they're going to be on Snapchat and Instagram. So you're going to want to start on Snapchat or Instagram. If it's a demographic of 30 plus, Facebook is still where they're at a lot of times. Both can be good for Google search. So think about the most common searched terms on Google. Invest in being on the top in Google and optimizing your website so you rank highly on Google so you're there. And then also focus on the social channels where your customers are most present. So like I said, if you're not sure what that is, look at other people in your industry and where are they spending their time. where are they investing their money. There's some tools out there like SpyFu is a free tool. You can see how much people are spending on Google. You can look at SEMrush. It's a free tool, how much people are spending on Google and whatnot. So you can kind of see where they're spending their money on Google and the best keywords. That'd be effective. But then also look at what are they doing on social media? What social profiles do they have set up? What kind of content are they posting? What are people engaging with the most? And then you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? Just do the same thing. Obviously, you have different content. I heard a quote recently, which was basically different is better than better. And so if you think about it, being different is better than having better content. So don't just copy somebody, have a different, approach to it, but do use it as inspiration. I think inspiration is key to all of us, and following some social media role models. I should say, if you find some people that you wish you could be like on social media, maybe use that as inspiration to develop your own strategy.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And another question, I'm an artist of 20 years. Any special advice? He gave us the URL, or they gave us the URL, bluewatercopperworks.com. I actually have it pulled up here on my screen. One thing that I would say, you being an artist, you have beautiful items, right? So the number one thing is make sure you have professional images, professional quality images in order to promote your information. Me being a millennial, thinking off the top of my head, I think Instagram is going to be a big play for you, getting some really good images, getting up on Instagram, just start promoting, tagging some different artists possibly in it. If you have similar work or you work with other artists, try and tag them in it, and then just get as much information and much content out there as possible. JB, going from, an artist to 20 years and trying to do this new social approach, what would be your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Instagram from a social perspective. It's a visual based. So that's what Instagram is. So I think this could crush it on Instagram. If you're continually posting your work and the beautiful work that you've done on Instagram, use the tags when you post on Instagram. You can add, like 30 tags, and you're going to want to just really use all of those. Tag everything you could possibly think that would be relevant for your products there. That'll increase your organic reach on Instagram. Then you can also promote that content. Instagram is part of Facebook now. So through the Facebook ad manager, make sure you have an Instagram business account, and then run some marketing behind the posts that you're putting out there on Instagram. I'd also have Facebook, I'd be doing both, but I think Instagram is where you're going to see a nice following. And then make sure that your website here is mobile friendly. The checkout process is really nice. And from an e-commerce perspective, if you're selling this stuff online.
Great information there. Hopefully you got some good content out of that. R. Haynes Hoffman Jr. Of Blue Water Copper Works. Thank you very much for your question. And see if we have a few more questions here coming through. But again, thank you all for sticking around and watching our live webinar. We're totally excited to keep doing this. JB, I have one question right here actually on our Crowdcast. It says, another Facebook expert who has webinars said never to boost Facebook posts, that they are a waste of money. Why do we have differences of opinions?
Yeah, so that's a good question. And actually they're semi-right in that regard. When we say boosting, we're not technically meaning boosting as the ad type. What we mean is boosting the content with regards to brand awareness campaigns and reach campaigns. And we looked at that earlier. You have the different campaign types. We've received confirmation from Facebook that boosting an individual post is not as effective as creating a brand awareness or reach campaign and then adding your posts into that singular campaign. Because what's happening is when you boost an individual post, it's not as effective on Facebook because the budget's limited to that one post. What Facebook likes is when you have a campaign with a total budget, let's say you want to spend $100 for the month. Every time you post, you add a post into that same campaign. Facebook can then use that $100 budget to adequately increase the reach and awareness of the posts that are getting the most traction. And so Facebook likes that because they can create a better user experience in terms of if you have a good piece of content that's getting some good engagement anyways, and they have some budget over here too, hey, let's show this to more people because they're going to like it. They don't like it as much when you spend $10 on one single post, regardless of the quality of the content. So that's why Facebook does it like that. So he's right in the regard of don't boost an individual post, but do boost your content from an organic perspective, put some money behind it, but do that with regards to a single campaign, adding your posts into it for the month with a monthly budget. And we see the best success with a brand awareness campaign. So try that.
Great. And we do work directly with some of the main players, right? Facebook, as JB said, Google, we have a Google Premier partner. So we definitely are top of the list here. All the information that we're doing is really coming from the heart. It's things that JB and our team has put together himself. We run our own campaigns. We've grown and had the blessings to grow as successful as we have by utilizing this information. So we really hope everybody got some good tidbits out of it, some tips and tricks to take home with you today. Again, this is Webinar Wednesday by Marketing 360. We're really excited to continue this on. We will be back in 2 weeks. So please look out in your emails. And then I think we're ready to sign off, JB.
All right, guys. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Happy marketing.